With the recent release of the Mage's Tale delivering a decidedly only slightly above average PlayStation VR experience, we all look toward the Wizards to be the non-Skyrim fantasy spellcasting game of choice, with lofty expectations of a big epic adventure and grand narrative. But that's not what the Wizards is about. In fact, you'll see very quickly that it's more of an arcade experience, all about showing off your skills as a badass wizard with short, bite-sized stages that are sculpted around chasing high scores, and less about a meaningful, story-driven quest. When you start off, you'll find yourself in the Sanctum. This is your home base of operations, where you'll return after every stage, check leaderboards, apply fate cards, upgrade spells, and choose the next level you want to tackle. It sounds like a lot, but the Wizards actually keeps things pretty simple, so you can focus on the task at hand, which of course is killing stuff. There are 3 main worlds to explore, with 3 to 4 stages each, filled to the brim with goblins, trolls, and giants that want to take you down. Completing them once takes about 4 hours at most, and within the first hour you'll have already learned all 6 of the basic spells, each of which are conjured by pulling the trigger on both move controllers and making a specific hand gesture. Fireballs are the easiest to cast, so starting out I use them the most often, but eventually I get the hang of all of the spells. Frozen arrows, lightning, missiles, pyroblast, they're a lot of fun, and when the screen fills up with enemies, switching between them and bouncing around the arena using teleportation can feel pretty great. That is, when everything works like it should. Too often, even the simple hand-flip fireball gesture just didn't register when I needed it the most, so risking the somewhat more elongated spells in the heat of battle often isn't the best idea. That said, I played through the entire campaign without dying once, so it's not exactly a game that'll test your reflexes.
I'm sure some structures are still unstable.
The graphics, soundtrack, and narration in the Wizards are all for the most part top-notch, but there are problems, some quite a bit more serious than others. First, although you have a choice between full locomotion and teleportation, teleportation is unquestionably mandatory to survive in battle. Getting surrounded by monsters leaves very few options, and teleporting behind them is usually the only way out. Plus, with lots of floating platforms and lower levels to descend to, you'll frequently be forced to use teleportation to progress. Since you're a wizard, it's sold as a powerful spell instead of a movement mechanic. But let's be fair, it's still just teleportation, and nothing about it feels terribly magical. And then, there's the much touted fate cards. You'll discover them in hidden locations throughout your journey, and act as modifiers that'll add or subtract HP from your enemies, make the game easier or harder, and ultimately are there to add to the challenge, increase your score multiplier, and help you top the leaderboards. But unless your goal is to play and replay the same level over and over going for a high score, they don't change up the gameplay radically enough to warrant a ton of use. The same holds true for the Arena mode, which contains 3 separate mini survival games, again where the objective is to last as long as possible and score a ton of points. If you obsess over leaderboards, this mode is custom designed for you, but most gamers will try it once or twice and then move on. But my biggest issue with the game is that the Wizards just lack substance. It looks and feels great, and combat can be an absolute blast. Despite all the cool mechanics, spellcrafting, and visual splendor, the Wizards, stage after stage, felt like a game designed for a very specific type of person. And I wasn't it.
The path leads upwards. This would be quite a climb if you had to go on foot rather than teleport.
There's a lot to like about the Wizards, from solid gameplay to fun spellcrafting, upgrading your abilities, and finding secrets throughout the levels. And there is a hardcore audience out there that this will resonate with, the same crowd that loves wave shooters and arcade games, not for the experience of playing them from start to finish, but for the challenge of getting the best possible score and kicking your friends out of first place in the online leaderboards. If that's you, then the Wizards Enhanced Edition has your name written all over it, and you'll get far more out of it than the average gamer. Everyone else will enjoy the fast and frantic combat and the feeling of being a powerful wizard, but when it's all said and done, might leave feeling a bit empty.
Can they? Stuff some fireballs in their faces.